Leather, yellow leather. Hello, it is I, High Master Nessus. I'm going to be educating about a very important subject today. We're going to be discussing The Lion King, one of my favorite films of all time. And this is a film that has a great deal of BDSM wisdom for the young person, the old person, or anyone in between. And this may seem a bit strange, but Disney has a lot to teach us about nearly everything, particularly BDSM. Think about Disney. What he did is he took these ancient folk tales from Europe, like Sleeping Beauty, and Asia, like Mulan, and from Africa's darkest heart itself, he took The Lion King. And he took these old stories and he jazzed them up with animation, with bright colors, with wonderful soundtracks, with Mr. Sir Elton John. And that synthesis of the old and the new, that is at the center of my practice. We have to take something old, the scrolls of the elder old god, beautifully preserved against the ravages of time. But they cannot just be dead documents that have no meaning. They also have to be living, adapting, growing. So I'm very, very respectful, and I admire Disney for this work. And really, it's a very typically American work. So if you don't know me yet, I'm High Master Nessus. Today's talk is Mufasa, the Alpha Dom, the wisdom of the Lion King. Now, let's just take a wonderful look at this story. If you look at the story of the Lion King, we have the father, Mufasa, and his young son, Simba, which is Swahili for prince. And it follows Simba from being a young, impetuous cub into him growing into controlling the Pride Lands, the kingdom of Mufasa. Of course, there is the brother Scar. Think of him as a bad dom, right? And Mufasa is your alpha dom. Now, I want you to think very early on in the movie, Mufasa is taking young Simba out on a walk to look at the Pride Lands, the kingdom he surveys. And this is a very subtle point. Light is a reoccurring theme and a symbol in this story. Simba, of course, is born in the morning, and all the creatures come to adore him. And he is thrust into the sunlight by the shaman, the mandrill ape, right? And remember this point. Mufasa says to Simba, Mufasa, Simba, everything that you see and hear that is covered by the light is our rule, man, our kingdom. Now what does this mean? Light, of course, is a symbol of knowledge. The old Dom is taking the young impetuous Dom and saying, anything you can rule and control, it has to be within the realm of your knowledge. Don't attempt a technique that you don't know how to do. Don't play with someone who hasn't been vetted. And like this, Mufasa is the wise Alpha Dom, wiser beyond his years. Of course, we look at Simba. Simba's the young impetuous Dom, the young impetuous D-type. What does he do? He extends out beyond the limits of his knowledge, to the darkness, to the elephant graveyard. And what does he meet there? He meets insanity. He meets three hyenas, one played by Whoopi Goldberg, another by Cheech Marin, another by some other guy. And they sing a little song and they drag him down to hell. Now, if you watch carefully, you'll also realize your attachment to a woman shouldn't be a liability. Simba's too enamored with his little friend Nala. So he jumps around and wrestles, and they end up in the elephant graveyard, fooling the elders, right? Nala's a bad influence on baby Simba. So be careful about women. They can manipulate you and use their affection, your affection, to lead you astray out of the realm of light that is the Pride Lands. And We also see in this film that the natural place of women, the natural place of men like Mufasa and Simba is to lead, and the natural place of women is to goad them to a better leadership. We see this especially with Nala and baby Simba. Nala can pin him at wrestling, and this pushes Simba to be stronger, be more capable. And later on in the film, when Simba's out in the jungle with that little meerkat and the warthog, he's living a hedonistic life with no values. Nala comes and pushes him, Simba, what are you doing? Just relaxing and eating worms, and you're a lion. A lion shouldn't eat worms. You should be ashamed and embarrassed of yourself. And she drags him back to the Pride Lands to take his place at the throne of the Pride Lands. Now, the best, here in America, we often have a very uneasy relationship with power. But the great moral of The Lion King is simple. Some people, like myself, are born to rule. We are apex predators. We are at the top of the hierarchy. Other people are born to serve. There's nothing wrong with that. Now, Scar, who is Mufasa's brother, he is a cruel, lazy, intellectual thing. He doesn't rule from the heart. He rules from the brain. And he's always certain about his own intellect. Mufasa, he leads from the heart. And yes, he will take down a gazelle and consume that gazelle. But it's always done out of compassion and an understanding the interdependence of life. When Scar takes over the Pride Land, what happens? The rains stop coming. He organizes fascist parades of hyenas. Things turn askew. He locks up that handsome little secretary bird named Zazu in a cage made of bones. And Zazu sings, "I've got a lovely bunch of coconuts." And that is just not appropriate. Zazu is a symbol of the king's eyes, the king's wisdom, his knowledge. So a bad dom doesn't learn. They are rigid. They do not learn new things. They take that bird of knowledge and they imprison him in a cage of bones. Mufasa, though, used him as a tool. When something was wrong in the kingdom, Zazu would report to the king. And the king, even though he was ruler, would listen to this little bird that represents the knowledge, the eyes, where one can see what is wrong with one. So don't be like Scar, be like Mufasa, the alpha dom. Also, we see Simba. He is a child. He is a young prince, a young king, a king in training. Don't be like him. Look at how impulsive he is. He thinks that to rule means to have one's way all the time. And this, of course, if you listen to that great song, "When I'm King," right? He's talking about all the great things he's going to do, right? Well, young Simba, you're not king yet. Don't be so impulsive. Learn, listen to your fathers, listen to your elders. Find a mentor. Make something of this journey, this kink journey, this BDSM journey. And everyone out there, I'd just like to remind you, I'm High Master Nessus. Please like the video. Refer me to your friends. Subscribe. There's a great deal of BDSM wisdom there in Disney films. The next one I'm going to analyze is, of course, The Little Mermaid, one of my favorite films. Sebastian is a particularly funny fellow. And, it's more from the submissive point of view rather than the dominant point of view. The Lion King, lions are very dominant, beautiful creatures. I am a cat person myself. I have 2 lovely little cats, and I just love to pick up my little guy and hold him up to the sun and say, "Simba, we rule everything that is covered with the light, young Simba." And he just looks at me with his little cat face, and I'm just transported to a faraway kingdom, the kingdom of Africa, where Sir Elton John sings his beautiful songs. Anyway, this is High Master Nessus signing out. Thank you for joining me, and this is a mini-sode. Stay tuned for a long-form episode. The Master's Lair will be here shortly. Thank you and goodbye.